CaesarBusiness.com podcast with Tony Rourke and Kevin O'Flaherty.
CaesarBusiness.com, making you money.
Share it on Facebook, share it on LinkedIn,
Twitter, our blogs, YouTube videos, listen to our podcast. It's so hot that it's burning up the stereo.
Welcome to the CaesarBusiness.com podcast. My name is Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law. I'm joined by my co-host Scott Mathis from Plateau to Peak Consulting. And our guests today are Sajjad and Sean Hussein from Intellectual Tech. And our topic is going to be custom-built software to save you time and money. So thanks for being here today, guys. Appreciate having you here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So why don't you start by telling us a little bit about what you do?
Intellectual Tech is changing the world by providing web development and custom technology-based services. So we've created websites, custom software, and then provide business consulting, which is helping people with their mission, their vision, their slogan, their logo, building the company brand.
So it's a pretty broad, when you say custom software, what types of software solutions have you built for people in the past?
Well, the three things kind of go hand in hand because usually somebody will hire you for a website or to work on their website. And then the custom software that we've built, that's more to Sean, but I talk about the CRMs, the databases, the mapping.
So we've built some systems. It's mostly web-based applications, essentially. So this is stuff that used to be done with like Flex and Silverlight, but everything's kind of transitions to JavaScript-based things. So it's all, accessible everywhere. You can get it on your phone, you can get it on your laptop, on your PC, whatever. It's all database-driven stuff. Essentially, that means that most of the things are logistics-based. So it's just trying to keep track of information when you have too much information to keep track of, and then how to analyze that and present it to people in a way that they can actually use it. So that's kind of the, capstone, or something that sums up what it all is. But it can be applied to different things, to businesses, nonprofits, whatever.
So what are some problems that you've solved for people through using this software?
Talk about the construction company.
So we've done stuff with construction companies where if they have a lot of guys out in the field and they need to do their time tracking, they submit all this paperwork to a secretary who then writes up what all the payments are that are going to all the individual employees. So instead of doing all that extra paperwork and faxing and stuff, that can all just be done online. So we built online systems for that. One of the other ones that we did that was pretty big and is still pretty popular is the Chicago Urban Agriculture Mapping Project, which is a long acronym for a system where we're tracking all of the gardens inside of the Chicagoland area. So it's about 900 gardens and 20 data points or so about those gardens. So that's a system where they just want to be able to know what kind of impact, having these gardens in the different areas is having on communities.
So if I'm catching you right, a lot of what you can do with this software, if I'm a business owner that is keeping a bunch of Excel sheets and maybe I've got 5 or 6 different employees or maybe 20 that are all supposed to be recording data, if I want to actually capture that information and see it in real time, that's what you can help me do.
Yep, that's a good way to boil it down. A lot of people, they go from paper to spreadsheets and then from spreadsheets to databases, and we're basically providing the custom database solutions for people. So I think that's a way to get rid of that time sink that they have right now.
And there's some stuff you can get out of the box, that's just for any general business. But we're building it custom to your company. So it's going to be specific for your needs. So you tell us where you're spending the most time and the most money, and then we create custom software to get rid of that time and save you that time.
So you might be paying an office manager, a salary, maybe $30,000 a year to put all these reports together for you and be in charge of gathering this data, and you might be able to shave off some of his or her hours and have them thinking about bigger picture things rather than doing data entry and collection.
Well, and it's kind of like, Google Analytics in terms of seeing exactly what's happening as it's happening, as we discussed with your business, rather than waiting to find out what's happening. The more data you can get along the way, the more you're going to find out exactly what you need to do, and you're going to identify problems along the way. Every client we've had over the past 2.5 years has come back to us because they get what they got, and then they say, oh, I figured out how this thing can be better.
And I want to build on the system.
I want to build on the system you gave us. So that's 100% of our customers have come back to us with new ideas. But if you start with, well, we're just going to figure it out and then we'll hire you when we need you. You're not actually figuring out how the system could best help you from the get. Whereas if you're, even if you have just a baseline system, which is what we provided people with initially, you're keeping track of all your contacts and your calendars and your contact, the number of contacts to each contact, or what's called touches, and then what's actually happening with that. Plus, like Sean was saying, you went from a Word document or writing with a pen and paper 30 years ago to Excel. Now with the CRM or a custom software to manage your data, you see what happened along the way too. So you can.
What does CRM stand for?
Client Relationship Management Software.
Yeah, so generally that's just anything where you're keeping track of all your businesses and contacts. Like a lot of them out there that are competing. Salesforce and SAP are the two biggest ones out there that everybody kind of knows the name brand. But essentially the idea is just knowing how long does it take you to find leads, how long does it take for a lead to become an actual sale, how long does it take to close a job, how long does it take to get paid, basically the whole, just tracking the whole business processes.
And will you help people figure out what data they need to capture in the first place? Is that because for someone who's already got the ready-made Excel sheets, that's one thing. You can turn that into a system. But if I've got a set, I do have a new sales team. So me and you talked about this on the phone the other day. We got a new sales team. We're trying to track their performance. Are you guys able to come in and say, oh, here's how we can build this. Here's how we build it for other people in order to capture some of these things, capturing the data, not just accumulating it.
Well, we can do that, but also the system itself is going to be providing you feedback along the way, because you're going to be seeing what is your ROI, what's actually helping to generate, who's doing what and how is that making it work. We can look at everything we're doing, like we were discussing before the show started, about, how is it you're marketing or what are your plans. And so we constantly are looking at what we're doing and what gains money. Because you can spend all the time, the rabbit holes of doing stuff. You can be busy for the sake of itself or be really excited to go to lots of networking events and make no money. So this will actually show you along the way, hey, we went to these events or we provided these, for us, if we're in front of people and present, we get sales. Whereas I like eating, drinking, and talking to people, so I can go out to all kinds of networking stuff and tell lots of people about us. And we get sometimes Sean will be like, how was the event? Yeah, and I'm like, oh, it was super fun. I had a great time. I had free beer. It was excellent, but the truth is, how much money do we make off of it in terms of the business? So the system will track from the get. It'll look at what you're doing and kind of give you feedback. Rather than having to try to think about it and analyze the data, it'll be analyzing the data for you.
But, and just to get more clarification, do you help them with identifying the points that are what you say you're tracking them? Do you help them decide what makes it important? So if you go to the meeting, that one was fun. Obviously, fun is not an indicator of the bottom line. But if you converted 4 people to purchasing clients, do you help them identify those touches or those points?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what you're trying to maximize for, right? So, like, if you are maximizing for fun, then fun is part of the metrics you need. Sure. So it all depends on what the company
So I
needs.
guess a Zoom is more about maximizing, make sure they have fun, but from a business standpoint of sales, you would want to.
Yeah. Increase your bottom line is the ultimate goal most of the time. But I mean, that's the thing is, it depends on the business and organization what their goals are. So, like with the urban agriculture thing, one of the things they want to keep track of is how much yield do they get for a certain amount of square footage planted. So if you have a certain amount of square footage area and you plant tomatoes or you plant cucumbers, how much actual nutritional value do you get out of that? So for them, that's the important thing. But that's why something that's generic like Salesforce doesn't necessarily work for everybody, is because it doesn't really key in on the metrics that they care about. So I mean, that's kind of where the advantage is for having a custom built system.
What sort of people do you see Salesforce not working? What sort of people come up to you and say, well, I've been using Salesforce, but it can't do X, Y, and Z?
Well, we have a lot of funny situations with that because people get it sometimes, like nonprofits get it for free, right?
Salesforce for free?
Yeah, always be wary of free, right? And so we go there, we told them up front, I think it was like $3,000 to $5,000 we were going to build the system for, and then we charged $20 a month per user. And so they got the free system, and then I went to the location a month later, and they're still trying to figure out the free system. So it's not necessarily that Salesforce or SAP is bad. They're wonderful companies that everybody loves. It's that it's not custom built. So the people, we're giving you something, the UI, the user interface, we're giving you something that is built for what you want it to do, so you're not getting caught up in all the other stuff and trying to make the system work for you. The system is being built to work directly for you, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So, and then you hired us so that we can take out any fat, and you can add things along the way, like Sajad or Sean. We didn't realize that this was a metrics we should have been tracking, and it's something you learn. That's why I'm telling you off the bat, to just start with it, even if it's the basic model, so that you can evolve and be taking notes, so you're actually using it, and learning it along the way.
Yeah, Microsoft came up with this term called dog fooding. So the idea is you eat your own dog food, so you get to know what your product is and where it fails and how it can be improved. So I mean, we try to do that with our own software, and then we also try to get in front of clients as early as possible. And I mean, the thing is with Salesforce or SAP, you end up hiring consultants that charge upwards of like $200 an hour to do the customization. So it ends up being cheaper if you're going to customize the thing to just have us do it from the get-go. And like Scott was saying too, you're not having to pull out as much because you're building it up from the ground up. So.
Sure. And you're not usually creating these systems from nothing. You've got stuff, so you're not someone's not paying you to like,
You've got a baseline.
Yeah. Okay.
What's the turnaround time on something like that? Say I come to you tomorrow and I go, I need this, replace Salesforce for me. It's horrible. What's the turnaround and how hard is the transition? Do you guys help with the process, or you go, like you said, to Salesforce, here it is, and 2 months later I'm still trying to figure out, even though it's customized?
Sean's my brother, and we've been in business for a 2.5 years, so I already know his famous phrase here. What are the 3 things, Sean? Time, money, and...
Yeah, you can't have it fast, cheap, and good. That's the triangle, so you pick 2.
They can be done.
Yeah. Well, no, that's what I wondered. So what would somebody say? Somebody hears this and they love it and they want to get it. What's the turnaround time?
I mean, most of our projects, even our major projects, have some, so complete is an odd thing. Let me answer the question straightforward. A month. 3 weeks to a month.
About a month.
To
Okay.
get knocked out. Now, complete is an odd thing within the tech world, because there's always any kind of crosses over onto the legal end of things, which is we create a TRD, a technical requirements document. It's the scope of what we're going to actually do. So it's really good. Sean mostly puts the effort into it. It's like a 10-page outline most of the time. And then, because as in all business people always want more, right?
Right.
So it's within the scope. As long as you're asking for something within the scope of what we did, we'll do it. And then, of course, we'll be extra friendly because that's customer service.
Right. When you said 100% of your clients have come back and asked to add stuff, so it's
to
some degree a living thing that keeps.
That's what's going to happen. You're going to have it, and then and then you're going to be done, and then 2 months later you're going to call us again because you're going to think of a new thing, or even a more nuanced version of something you already have.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff is just really small tweaks too, just kind of add a button here or a thing there. It's not like a major overhauls typically.
And on the transition, you do help them acclimate their staff or themselves to the new software?
Yep, yeah, and transitioning data too, like you said. So far most of our clients have been building stuff from the ground up where they're small businesses too, so they don't really have a lot of infrastructure in place. But there have been cases where we've had to migrate data over from existing systems, and it's not that bad. Yeah, I mean, it is an extra week or 2 potentially.
Sure.
But,
A lot of people that are thinking about this topic for the first time are probably thinking, well, that's for bigger businesses, not for, my small business, if they don't already have software in place. But talking to Sajad, it sounds like your rates are, pretty scalable to what you're trying to accomplish. It's not something that you need to have 50 employees to...
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, as soon as you've got about, I'd say, 5 to 10 people even, then it starts to become a real value, When you're a one-man shop, then managing yourself is not going to help as much, So the more people you have, the better it is for you. That's true. But you don't need to get a massive scale to benefit from this. Yeah.
I want to add on to that too. I'm very honest, and Sean's more honest than I am in terms of he'll just straight up tell people, he focuses totally on. My deal is if you want it, we'll give it to you. Whether I think it's good or not is...
Sure. Let them decide.
Yeah, you pay us money, we'll create it for you. Sean will tell clients. that's not going to help you. You know, it's got to be about saving time and money. The thing that small businesses, and especially older businesses that have been around for a long time, and newer businesses, but they think that their ways are fine because the ways that they're doing are getting them by. What they're not understanding is that they're actually losing lots of time and lots of money, and they're stressing themselves out, and they're stressing their employees out, and they could be, I don't know what they want to be doing, but playing golf or drinking beer. They could be doing something else with their time, or putting more time into other endeavors, even if it's just trying new stuff out to see if it works, rather than all the time you're spending on Excel and, you know, whatever else, analytics and your data, you know, data analysis that you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I'm somewhere in between the Excel sheets and where you guys are right now. I spent basically the past weekend, 4 or 5 days, just hammering away, working constantly, turning my mess of Excel sheets into a dashboard. And I found some, you know, software that would allow me to import Google Drive documents. And it was really friggin' hard. I mean, I wouldn't recommend that for everybody. You know, I just happened to have some time to do it. But
I didn't want to play golf.
Yeah, and I didn't want to play golf. But, you know, we still have a mess of Excel sheets. They're just all, you know, in a more ordered way, and they're filtering into a dashboard. And, you know, for those listeners who don't know what a dashboard is, it's basically something that takes the key performance indicators from your business out of whatever data center you have and updates them in real time, so you can go to a web page and see, okay, here's how much production each attorney has this week, here's what our accounts receivable are this week, here's what our profit is, and whatever data you want. So some of the stuff that I did, you know, I wanted to see that my office manager and my receptionist were going through their daily checklist. So I made an Excel sheet that they have to fill out when they do stuff, and that's on my dashboard, so I can see if that gets behind. But it's still a behemoth. I went from having a bunch of Excel sheets that were never being updated because I wasn't reviewing them. I had no place where I'd have to look at each individual sheet to make sure that my team was doing their job and filling them out. Well, now I can see if they're not filling them out, but it's still a mess. I have a hunch that's kind of that's the bridge in between the Excel sheet mess and, you know, what you guys can do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what you're talking about too, you know, in terms of a checklist, like that's a thing that's a lot easier to present on like a mobile interface for people to interact with that way. And so it's like, you know, we could just create an interface that they have on their phone or tablet or whatever that they can just check off instead of having to go into this thing on the site, have another tab open. You know, I'm sure everybody has hundreds of tabs open all the time already. So, yeah, I mean, it's just about like optimizing around those kinds of problems.
And if you think about how much time you spent in the last year or 2 years or 6 months or 3 months or this past weekend, how much time and stress you're putting into creating these things that aren't even really that good. They're not giving exactly what you want. And the amount of time you're taking away either from developing your business to make more money or to doing nothing or whatever it is, you know, that you want to be doing with your time.
I think he actually wanted to paint with that, didn't he? You enjoyed it, didn't you?
But it was a family lake weekend where I spent a lot of my days, you know, going through, you know, making, and I probably what you guys could do that, you know, I wasn't able to do is make sure that all those systems are internally consistent with each other. You know, I was linking spreadsheets to each other and linking manuals to spreadsheets for how to use them. And if one thing goes wrong, you know, the whole thing's going to collapse on itself. Right. So that's probably one thing. And the other things, you guys could probably make that a lot more user-friendly for people who have to plug the data in. So, you know, we should definitely talk. I want to see how this works out, but I found myself needing that because I had no way of getting, you know, I don't know where our money went last month without having to ask my office manager to pull up a report, and I don't know how, you know, up to date those reports are at any given time. So, you know, having that dashboard where I can see it all, we're all really excited about it, but, you know, I wouldn't recommend it to everybody to spend, you know, 4 or 5 days trying to learn how to do that, you know. So.
And then another thing that we've done a lot of is online custom payment forms. And for attorneys, well, for all businesses really, if you're taking payments, you want to know how much money the person has paid and how much money the person owes, and you can avoid answering the phone, right, to tell them what's going on with their case and how much, you know, money's left. So, and then they're happy because they don't get charged for calling you. to find out, and you're happy because you're not, again, wasting your time or
And
using it.
can you do that on the back end as a reverse if they're behind on their bills and you're collecting? Can you fix it to where they know where they're at as how much they've paid off with their debt? Or,
Yeah. I mean,
because I think in a lot of businesses there's receivables that are behind, and
Yeah, you can do 30, 60, 90 days out or whatever. It's all just recorded in a database, and the date that the invoice is made, the date any payments are made online.
Sure.
So, yeah, we have that built into like our CRM too, where it's, the base thing, like I said, is just contacts and companies, and then billing is another piece of that. That's pretty common, so that's just in the base system.
Gotcha.
So the customers can just kind of log in and see what their account status is and make a payment right there.
Yeah, they can come log into our site. We have Google one-touch login, so as long as they're signed into their Google account, they just hit the Google login button and they see what's their invoices from us. They click on it and they see the payments.
One thing Kevin and I actually have looked into a couple of times for the law firm to do the dashboard thing and work out that situation. And out of the people that we spoke with, they were either overly confusing or overly priced or both. What do you guys, how could you speak towards like setting people at ease on, and you did a little bit of that already, but touch on, because it's a complicated thing. A lot of people don't even know what a dashboard is, and you mentioned that, or KPIs, which you didn't even mention, and it's a key performance indicator, but for the people that don't know what to measure,
Right.
how is the process, can you make it easy or painless?
Well, I think that's the benefit of Sean and I, because I am non-tech, but I understand what Sean's saying. so usually Sean talks for a while as this interview has gone.
So you're the interpreter?
And I don't understand sometimes what he's talking about either. But I know how the things work, or I know what's the usefulness of them. And then I think obviously Sean's the massive brain behind the operation and the creating of the software, writing of the code. But I think that's one of the ways in which I benefit, with the vision, the mission, the branding, the interpretation of how are these things useful to you, and then just I'm creative, just being able to create solutions. And I was a nonprofit for 10 years building organizations. So I think a lot of that, like you do certain things in life and they benefit other things. So in creating, being a community organizer, it really helps me with building businesses because it's almost the same infrastructure.
Sure.
And identifying a lot of the same issues, like managing of people, staff, participants, money. It's hand in hand.
Right.
One of my hang-ups and one of my objections to hiring someone to build a dashboard for me. So we went through this process, and the reason I just ended up doing it myself was I figured, well, it's going to take me as much time to explain how my business operates and how I need all these things in my systems to work together as it would just to build the damn thing myself. Not everyone's going to want to learn how to build it themselves. So that's some people just can't do that. But for someone who says, and this is kind of what Scott was talking about, for someone who says, well, yeah, I'm going to have to sit there and actually map through this all anyway. Is there a way to overcome that objection?
Well, yeah, that's
the wanting to micromanage.
I think that's an easy one. As you're both attorneys, right? So
I'm not.
Oh,
He's my CRO.
a regular human being? All right, well, I'll just
Oh, no, that's not true either.
Well, I'll just talk to Kevin there. There's street lawyers. There's people that think everybody thinks they know not everybody. A lot of people think they know a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then once you learn a lot about something, you realize, the more you know, the less you know. So there's a lot of people that say they're engineers and that they write code, and you can try to do this stuff. You could also try to be a lawyer. Go ahead all day long and try to figure out the law. Even a simple matter in the law, if you're a non-lawyer, is going to take you forever.
And you're not going to be able to work on your business while you're handling.
And you're probably going to get it wrong.
Yeah.
So Sean did custom software for Air Force for 3.5 years. This is all he does. I'm into other things, which I will talk about on mic. But
Feel free.
I like having fun in video games and social change. I just but Sean's into other things too. But his main focus is on writing code. This is his thing. And you can, you'd have to work as long as we work to become attorneys or we work to run organizations. You'd have to work that long. If you are an expert or if you're very knowledgeable at anything, you can't say that as lawyers, but if you're very knowledgeable about anything, you'll realize how hard it. Like I respect. I got my hair cut yesterday by this lady, and she's like, "Well, what should I do?" And I'm like, "No, you cut hair. I just have hair. You cut it." And I respect.
I did that once. Came up bald.
Gotta keep that curly hair. Just if you respect expertise, then you understand you're not going to be a financial planner. You're not going to be a lawyer and a doctor and an engineer and an architect and a model and a beautician. You let people play their roles, and if you're a smart business person, that's what you do. You hire the right people to play the right roles and get out of the way.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, and in terms of like the requirements gathering itself, trying to put together what the plan is gonna be so that somebody else can actually execute it for you. We do. I mean, that's what the TRD is basically is all of the work ahead of time of trying to get the information from the client and then putting together a document that explains our understanding of what the problem is and how we're gonna solve it.
And what's a TRD?
So technical requirements document. It's just like an industry term, not the urban industry uses it. But it just means it's like a specifications document. And just here's what the entire plan is. And here's how we're going to execute it, and then we bring that to them, so it's not like they're spending a lot of time on just an initial 1 hour meeting usually to get information from them, and then we come back to them with that, and then we'll spend our hour maybe two going over that and refining it before we even get started on work. So that's pretty much how we handle that problem, and then along the way as we're developing it, if we have questions, we bring them up to the customer then. But it's not like a lot of time sunk into doing the requirements gathering yourself. What we take on.
Do you guys, in your kind of initial exploratory, the equivalent of an initial consultation, are you guys able to give a pretty good ballpark of what it's going to cost before diving into it?
No, not really.
Okay.
No, because it's like somebody coming to you. I have a legal. First step. I have a legal problem.
Yeah.
It's like, oh great. Okay, how much? I don't know. Okay, it's within torts. It's like, okay. We need specification and exactly what you want in order to, say, we can give you those ballpark numbers.
Very rough
numbers, but it's totally rough. I call it a guesstimate. It's like,
I understand that.
It's a total shot.
You never know where the project's going to be.
Yeah, a shot in the relatively dark. And then when we do the TRD and give it back to the clients, they always come back to us with, okay, well, take those 2 things out because they're more money than I thought, and here's these 5 other things I thought of in the past 3 days.
So you can break it down by, by item by item. Here's what this thing you want done is going to cost.
Right, and you can just come to us with your utopian dream, which might be 20 grand, and then we just create that basic $5,000 system to give you return on investment, and then you build along the way.
Yeah, I heard, I was with somebody in a meeting yesterday, and they talked about prices. It relates to that. And we were with another lady, and she kept saying, well, how much? And the guy looked at her and goes, well, how much is a car? And she goes, which car? Exactly. And that was it. And it's like, oh, yeah, I get it now.
Yeah, it just really depends. And then things change. And over the days when people initially meet with us till 3 days later, they went to sleep twice. So they've woken up with 5 new dreams. Oh, man, now I thought it could really be this,
So we mentioned this at the outset, but refresh my memory on the other things that intellectual tech does a little bit.
Yeah, we've done websites. The difference between ours and the other 4,000 or 4 million companies that do them is, again, they're custom built. We're not using WordPress. It's all custom code, so our stuff is highly unlikely to get hacked. And another one of Sean's passions is security. So just paying attention to updates and making sure none of our stuff is vulnerable. But again, it's custom built to your brand.
Do you do search engine optimization too?
Yeah, we don't put a huge focus on like SEO marketing or anything, but we do optimizations in terms of knowing what's going to be inside of header tags and domain names and page names and that kind of thing. So we put effort into it, but it's not a major focus. There's companies that just focus on SEO marketing.
I've heard SEO is less important than it was like 3 years ago.
Well, the thing is, it's always a game against Google, basically. So you're trying to figure out how's the algorithm working, how can I game the system? Is essentially what SEO marketing is.
And it's always changing.
Yeah, it's constantly changing. So it's and it's become harder over time to game the system. So ultimately on the web, anywhere where content is king. If you don't have good content shared, nobody's going to share it. Nobody's going to look at it, check it out. So ultimately that's what it comes down to, is just having good content to share and, providing people who are searching for your thing what they need, and a lot can be found. I mean, one of the things too is like older sites, in particular, like stuff that was done in the 90s mostly. People use images a lot to try to make like shadows on text and things that you can now do inside of the browser just by using CSS. They used to use images to get these kinds of effects. The problem is then a search engine can't actually read an image, so it doesn't actually get that text. It doesn't know that you're trying to emphasize some text. They can put alt text in the tags and stuff, but it doesn't work as well as having something in the header that's actually on the page. So, we do put some effort into it, but it's not a major focus.
And then there's also a lot of lies, about a lot.
No.
Yeah, right. A lot like we'll. It's one of our jokes during our presentation. Like, we don't charge you for fake things. Like Google Analytics will put that into your website that doesn't cost us anything. So there's companies that, we're charging you for online marketing, and you're going to get SEO, and you're going to get cloud, and you're going to get blah, 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 and none of it really means anything. We had one of our clients was a doctor, and he told me about all the things he was getting, and he was paying $1,000 a month. And I said, what is your return on that? What do you, And he didn't really know what the words meant. So the thing is, we're not the cheapest and we're not the most expensive, but we're not going to rip you off. So companies will, lowball you on $2,000 website, right? Or a free website, which is $138 a month forever. And so then they charge you a low upfront cost and then ongoing monthly fees where they're actually doing nothing for you. So overall, if we were to rip people off, it's a better business model if you're into ripping people off because they're getting money in perpetuity. We just charge a flat rate for something good and don't tell you about things we don't focus on. There's companies that specialize in SEO and companies that specialize in social media. We can set that up and make it as optimized as possible. But then there's other stuff to do to make it actually work for you.
Sure. Well, someone wants to get you guys help either with a website or some custom software. How can they reach you?
They can go to our website, intellectual-tech.com. They can call us at 312-620-2444, or they can email us at it@intellectual-tech.com.
And so John and I are going to be doing a seminar together, a small business workshop coming up. I believe it's the 14th, but it might be the 28th of July. I forget which one we had to.
14th.
14th, okay. So July 14th at Valley Oil in downtown Downers. If you want to hear more about this, so John's going to be speaking. I'll be speaking. We'll be doing a good small business workshop, and all the details are on our website. So thanks so much for being here, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Take it easy.